Hello everyone, my name is Katie Carroll and I'm the founder of Katie Carroll Coaching. And I am a pediatric nurse for the last 21 years, and I'm also a certified health coach for the last 5 years, as well as a certified personal trainer for the last 4 years. And I'm going to be speaking today about self-care. Self-care has definitely become one of my biggest passions, and it's something that I speak on to many communities. And a couple of years ago, when I started diving deep into self-care, I thought that self-care was a lot of the things that we do superficially that give us instant gratification. And what I have found is that many people also still think that self-care are things like getting massages, drinking wine, eating dark chocolate, going on a vacation, or retail therapy, which is always fun, going to Target, or buying a new watch, or buying a new car. And all of those things are well and good and have their place in this world, and that I continue to do myself. But what I have learned is that they are not the things that are going to truly help sustain you through the longevity of your career and your life. So I like to say these days more about self-preservation as opposed to using the term self-care, so that it literally reminds you, what are you doing to preserve your mind, body, and spirit? So I want to start off real quick with a tip, a trick that you guys can take with you anywhere you want in the world, and you don't need any equipment because it's already inside of you. We're going to be talking about your breath and doing a breathing exercise. So if you are driving or operating heavy machinery, you can always do this later. Please don't do it now. But for those of you that are in a safe space and are able to close your eyes and sit comfortably in your chair, I invite you to do this breathing exercise. This is called the square breathing, and I literally picture a square because we're going to inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and hold for 4. And we're going to do that 4 times, so it makes it easy. Okay, so get comfortable wherever you are. Close your eyes, and we're going to start. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4. And exhale, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4. And inhale, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4. And exhale, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4. And inhale, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4. And exhale, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4. And exhale, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4. Beautiful. You can return to your normal breathing, open your eyes, and come back to the room. So I know for me that breathing has definitely helped me in many areas in my life. I am a big yoga fan, and I do a lot of yoga. For any of you out there that do yoga, you know that breathing is such a huge component of yoga. And what I have learned on the yoga mat, I have taken off of the mat, and it's helped me in my life. And breathing has been one of those things when I find myself in a stressful situation where anxiety is rising, I will just jump right into my breathing technique, and it always helps to calm me down. It lowers the heart rate, it lowers the blood pressure, and it gets the mind to settle down. So I want to give you guys that today that you can take with you anywhere. And something else I also want to talk about today is stress and burnout. And many times people just throw them into the same bowl thinking that they are the same thing. And they say things like, I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed, I'm burnt out. But there's actually differences. So there's a difference between stress and burnout. With stress, there's good stress and bad stress. Good stress is like having a baby, buying a house, getting a new job. Bad stress is losing a loved one, losing a job, getting a diagnosis. The thing with stress is that if you can imagine many things on your plate, You feel like if someone were to just take one thing off your plate or two, that you would be okay and would be able to handle what's on your plate. The thing with burnout is that it doesn't matter if someone comes along and takes 1, 2, 3, 4, everything off your plate. There's no light at the end of the tunnel, and you feel very hopeless for your future in your career, in your life. So that is a big distinguishing factor between stress and burnout. And stress that is not handled will eventually lead to burnout. And so one of the tips that I want to give you today on handling stress and burnout and feeling maybe in one of those situations, because I know for myself, I went through my deepest burnout in my nursing career and in my life about almost 6 years ago, and what I have learned since then. And so when I talk about our plate of life that we all have and that we've all been gifted, that is life, is that many times we feel like if we just pile more things onto our plate, that maybe we will be looked at as better or doing really great in this world, or having someone say, how does she do it all, or how does he do it all, with having all of that on your plate. And maybe comparison syndrome, looking at everybody else around you, thinking that you have to pile more and more on your plate. And many times we tie what we do and the amount of things on our plate to our self-worth. And I'm here to tell you that eventually that plate is going to get very, very heavy and very hard to hold. And what I want to give you permission today to do is that you can take one of those things off your plate. You don't have to wait for outside circumstances or people to take something off your plate to lighten your load, so that you can nourish what you already have on your plate. If you take any message home with you today, I hope you take that we all have our own unique plates. And many times we may look at other people's plates and think they look better, theirs looks better. We always hear the expression, we think the grass is greener. But I would bet you if someone asked you to trade their plate with yours and you really looked at your plate and their plate, you'd keep your own plate. So I ask you today to nourish what you already have on your plate. I empower my clients to fully believe that they are enough exactly as they are today, and to fully love themselves exactly as they are today. I remind my clients that you were born enough. You will always be enough, and you are enough exactly as you are today. We lose that somewhere along the way, and that's one of the problems with talking about self-care and self-preservation and learning how to fill up your cup, because we've lost our self-worth. And another tip and trick I want to remind you today, give you to use, is one word, it's 2 letters, learning the importance of the word no. And no is a complete sentence. And many times, even though it's beautiful to be a giver, we continue to give, and say yes, 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 until we are running on fumes. And I want to remind you that it's okay to say no. When someone asks you to do something and your gut response is that you don't really want to, but you find yourself saying yes, and then you beat yourself up about it later, or maybe now you're complaining to family or friends that you said yes to this thing. This trick I have for you, I use myself, and it's definitely helped me with my people pleasing and saying yes to everybody. If someone comes up to you, and yes, it's always harder in person, or they send an email or a text or call you, and someone says, hey Katie, I wanted to know if you could come and volunteer at the fundraiser we're having in 2 weeks. Take a deep breath. There's that breath again. And you say, thank you so much for asking me that. I'm going to have to check my calendar and get back to you. Right? Because that at least gives you the room and the space to not immediately throw something else on your plate. You haven't even looked at your plate yet to see if you can fit that in. And then you have the gift of time and space to look at your schedule and really evaluate if that's something you want to do. If it is, go for it. If it serves you. If it doesn't serve you, then you can come back and say, I looked at my schedule and unfortunately that's not going to work for me right now. But thank you so much for thinking about me, and definitely think about me in the future if that's something that seems like maybe you would like to do in the future. So that's my message for today. That's what I wanted to give you guys today. If you want to find me, you can find me over at katiecarrollcoaching.com, and that's KatieCarroll coaching.com. You can find me on Facebook at Katie Carroll Coaching or Instagram at Katie Carroll Coaching. I would love to hear from you and hear what you thought about these tips and tricks, and hear about what some of your best self-care tips and tricks are as well. Thank you very much, and stay healthy and well.